So it's real, it's there, it's the DJI Pocket 2. Not Osmo Pocket 2, Pocket 2, just to confuse you. Anyway, it's real. Last night I was on the DroningON channel on a live stream and we were talking about it, and I was a bit disappointed like the other guys, but I've had some time to think about it. I was up until stupid o'clock in the morning watching every single video I could get my hands on, and I've got some thoughts, and we'll get into it after this. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Keith and on today's video we're talking about the DJI Pocket 2. Not the Osmo Pocket 2. For some inexplicable reason, DJI have removed the name Osmo from the title, but not the device. It's still written on the bottom, just to confuse you that little bit more. I think the marketing people at DJI are the same people that work for Microsoft on the Xbox, because the naming series on the Xbox is the most confusing thing in the world. Anyway, let's get into the specs on this device. Interestingly, to start with, it's got a 1/1.7 inch sensor, which means it's bigger than a 1/2 inch sensor. Not quite the 1 inch sensor that I was hoping for, but it's certainly a bigger sensor. The other great thing is it's now got a wider focal length, so it's now technically the equivalent of 20mm, and it's got an aperture of f1.8, which should mean much better low light performance. It's now got 4 built-in microphones. The original microphone in this wasn't bad once DJI fixed it. I've used it a couple of times for vlogging and I was quite impressed with the results. I don't use it on this channel that much because it's okay, but it's not going to beat an external microphone. The new sound out of this, it sounds really good. Again, still would use a external microphone, and I think that's pretty much why DJI also released a wireless microphone for it. Anyway, so it's got the same size battery as the old one, so battery life on this should be around about the same, except when you're using the do-it-all handle, which we'll talk about again in a second. Now I come to the first real issue. DJI have got it plastered over their website that the Osmo Pocket 2 has HDR. It does not yet. It's going to be available in a future firmware update. Now, this is what they did before. They have not mentioned this on their website. They're not saying that it's not available yet, which to me is false advertising, DJI, and you need to stop this. You really do. This is what got to me the last time this came out, because they were talking about the pro modes on this and the deciner-like color thing. None of that was available when I first got my hands on it, and it took them a few days to update their website to tell people, and I think that was only because people complained. They are doing it again, and it is wrong in my opinion, and DJI, you need to fix that. Anyway, let's get into the pros of this device. It looks like all the accessories are going to work. So if you already own the little control stick here, looks like it's going to work with the Osmo Pocket 2. ND filters, if you bought them previously, they will fit the new one. That's quite cool and very unlike DJI, so that's a nice surprise. It's got the wireless microphone, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I use the Wireless Go here and I love it. It's brilliant. The wireless microphone for this looks like it will only work with the Osmo Pocket because they give you basically the receiver at the end. But the great thing about the receiver is you can plug in an external microphone into that as well. So it has a built-in microphone, and DJI supply you the little sort of wind muff, but it also, under that wind muff, has a port for external microphone. That's really cool. That gives you much wider usage of the device. So I'm really happy with that. It's got the wider field of view, which again, that's going to please a lot of people. That's, I think, in response to the Filmy Palm, which has that wider field of view. DJI also chuck in a wide angle lens as well to get an even wider field of view. Apparently that's near enough 15mm, which is really cool for vlogging. The one thing I noticed though is that it's not stackable, so you can't put their ND filters on top of it. That's really annoying. Freewell, if you're watching this, please build a wide angle lens with a built-in VND, because that would be perfect. You then get best of both worlds. The do-it-all handle. Now, I see this as both a pro and a con. The do-it-all handle can do it all. It's got the built-in Wi-Fi, built-in speakers, it's got the tripod mount, and it's got external audio. But I would have liked to have seen them put the Wi-Fi in this, in the actual device, not the handle. Now, the do-it-all handle is cool because it's going to give you that extra length and extra grip and extra weight, which should balance this a bit better. But when you're using it on a stick like this, you're not going to be able to angle it down too much because you've got that great big sort of tail section, and so it means you're not probably going to use it when it's mounted to the stick, which means you can't use your mobile phone or external audio. DJI, which means you're going to have to use their wireless microphone device, and that kind of limits you. In fact, that limits you more than using this, which is the external jack. But this might work. I'm hoping this works with the Osmo Pocket 2. If it does, that's kind of fine, but I still would have liked to have seen built-in Wi-Fi. You had 2 years DJI. Seriously? There's a really cool feature now, which I noticed on the Osmo Pocket 2, that when you switch it off, basically the gimbal lens will turn into the gimbal arm, protecting the lens. But what's really cool is when you've got like an ND on there, or their wide angle sort of lens adapter, it somehow knows and will then switch off and face out. That's quite a cool little feature. And obviously with the lower aperture and slightly larger sensor, that means the low light performance in this is going to be much better. Some of the YouTube videos that I watched, they did some low light videos, and they looked much better than you can get out of this. So that's a welcome addition. Really pleased with that. Now, let's get into the cons on the device. And the first one is a biggie. And this is one that is really ringing alarm bells for me. I was watching a video on YouTube last night from a creator called Potato Jet. You've probably heard of him because he's got like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Lucky person. But he's a really good creator. And whether he intentionally did this or not, I'm not sure, because DJI are very controlling in what you can say pre-launch about the device. But at the end, he had face track on, and it was tracking his face, and it did exactly what I have been moaning about, which is it focuses on the background and not the face. I do not get this. It's dumb. There's no other way to put it. It's dumb. Because if you're using face track, it is really obvious that you want to focus on your face, or you wouldn't be using face track. So why is that bug, after 2 bloody years, still there? Now, he does mention focus hunting issues, which is something we had in the original one. And he did say that this is a pre-launch firmware, which he kind of has to say, and DJI are aware of this. With respect, DJI, you've been aware of it for 2 years. So why is it even there? I mean, it's just infuriating as to why there are still focusing issues there. I really don't understand it. And it is a big worry. And it is one of the reasons why I'm not going to go out straight away and buy the Pocket 2. I'm going to wait until we see it in the hands of real people, not marketing tools. And then we'll see what they say about it. And we'll see if DJI fix it. But that is a big, big worry. Another one, and this is another one for when it gets into the hands of people that are not sort of sponsored by DJI, is the power button has been shifted to the side. Now, if it operates like it does on their drones, where you press and then hold to switch it on, that's okay. But if it's just like it is now, where you just hold it, when you're gripping it, I can see you powering this thing down a lot, which is going to be really annoying. Another concern is when it's in the case, and if it's in a bag and there's something pressing down on that, is that going to switch it on and drain your battery? Anyway, that's all the cons really that I could come to my mind. The focusing one, as I said, is a biggie, and that does cause me concerns. But I've got a few final thoughts, so I'm just going to go over those now, and then we'll end the video. One of the things I noticed on a lot of these videos is that they're comparing it to a mobile phone. Seriously, if you don't understand why this is majorly different to this, you don't need to buy this. Honestly, you'll be fine with this. If you do, then you understand why maybe I'm slightly puzzled by these videos, because obviously this, you can't do adjust your shutter speed too much, because you can't really get ND filters for this, so you can't capture blur in motion in your video. So you're always going to be able to tell when there's a video shot on this, if you're like me. When Apple launched the iPhone 12 and they went, look at this cinematic video, you still knew it was done on the video, because there is absolutely no motion blur, none, because obviously the shutter speed is so high. So for videography, you can get much, much better video out of one of these. For photos, when you're doing panoramas and time lapses, fantastic, this is great. But if you're not doing panoramas, this has something called computational photography. A lot of phones, especially Apple phones, now have that. Hands down, this will take better photos. So don't buy one of these for photography. Really, it's not worth it. The battery in the Osmo Pocket 2 is exactly the same size as this. With that do-it-all handle, which has speakers, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and all of that stuff, I can see it sucking far more battery life. And it's one of the things that YouTubers have skirted around at the moment. So it is ringing slight alarm bells. You can obviously plug a power pack into this and charge it. That's what I've done with this when I'm using it out vlogging. But I foresee there being battery life issues on the Pocket 2. So just to finish, my final thought is this. The Creators Combo Pack is a really good deal, in my opinion. You save a lot of money, and it gives you everything to start vlogging and doing B-roll and getting some really good cinematic footage. You've got ND filters in there, you've got the wide angle, you've got the external microphone. Everything you need and everything that we've had to buy when using the original one is all there, and all for a really good deal. So if you're just starting out on YouTube, it's well worth the money. One thing I'd like to see DJI add in a future firmware update is the ability to use this as a webcam. Ash mentioned it over on DroningON last night on our stream, and I totally agree with him. This would make a really good webcam. So why don't DJI give us the ability to? Please, DJI, give us the ability to use this as a webcam. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the Osmo Pocket 2 so far. As I said, I will be getting one, but I'm going to wait a few weeks, and I would advise you to do the same. Wait until this thing gets into the hands of real YouTubers, and then we'll know what's missing and what issues it still has. The focusing one is a real big one. If you want to see what I mean, go and check out Potato Jet's YouTube channel and watch at the end, and you'll see exactly what's going on there. Anyway, guys, I've just got a couple of things to mention, and this will probably make this video slightly longer. I do a podcast every week. I do a live stream on a Sunday night with my mates Gareth and Nigel. We talk about all things pop culture, movies, geeky stuff, and that's over on a YouTube channel called Monkey Nut Punch. I've put that in the description below. I want to thank Ash again for letting me appear on the live stream. It was an awesome experience. I have never been on a live stream with that many people watching. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but it was awesome fun, and I really want to do it again. And the two guys that I was on there, Chuck and Mike, they both have really cool YouTube channels, and they're getting some really good drone footage. I really ask you to go over and check their channels out as well and support those guys. We're all on this Discord server that Ash has set up. So if you want to get on there and geek out about all stuff, get drones and all that kind of thing, and get advice on your YouTube videos, head on over to DroningON and join. It starts off at $1.99 a month, and it is really good value for what you get out of it. Trust me on it. I wouldn't push it if I didn't believe in it. Anyway, guys, I've left Chuck and Mike's YouTube channels in my description below. Please check them out and give them a subscribe too. If you liked this video, please give it a like, because it really helps out the channel. If you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. If you're into these kind of videos and all sorts of drone stuff and photography stuff, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I hope you're fit, healthy, and safe wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. But for now, bye-bye!